You know that feeling when you forget something really, really important. It might be a medical appointment, parent-teacher meeting. Maybe there's that bill that's been sitting on the kitchen bench forever and for some reason you just keep forgetting about it, miss the deadline and end up having to pay interest you did not want to do. It is a horrible feeling, but that feeling was the spark for a Gold Coast couple to create a unique app. The app is called Eggy, which is all about organising everything to do with your household life. Kirk Reynoldson and Kate Morgan formally launched this revised app last week, but took some time out to chat to me as to how it all came to be.
We just had a problem that we wanted to solve. That was basically how Eggy started. We just had stuff everywhere in our lives. So, we had bills in emails, we had a pile of paper on the kitchen bench, stuff stuck on the fridge,
Life was chaos.
Yes. Life was chaos. Multiple calendars. It was just like the exploding brain emoji was real.
How many kids do you have?
3 now. And I think we had 1 at the time that we started Eggy. So we've pretty much spent the last few years managing our tech startup Eggy as well as the 3 kids. So that's been fun.
And so what are your professions prior to Eggy?
Well, I was a professional athlete for about 10 years, Nicole. So, that basically tied me up. I've been back to uni and I did some contract work after I retired. Degree, I'm tertiary educated, Nicole.
Beautiful one.
I'm not doubting that, Kirk. I'm just wondering whether
I'm not just a front rower.
Have I seen you in a sporting event that I should be recalling right now?
There's this little sport called the National Rugby League. I'm not sure if you've seen much of that.
A little bit.
So I was lucky enough to play for Melbourne Storm, Newcastle Knights and the Dragons. So,
Kirk, I should know that.
The other end of the spectrum, I was a health professional, Nicole, before I started Eggy. So I was a dietitian and I used to work at Bond University, had my arm twisted to do a PhD there. And just after I submitted my PhD, Eggy started to take off. So Eggy kind of just happened. And before we knew it, we were both working full-time on Eggy, putting everything on the line and just saying, let's do this.
You were not app developers before this, now that I've got a bit of an understanding of where you've come from before Eggy. So how did you then take the next step?
It's true. We were absolute tech nufties before we started Eggy. Like most people, we have a little bit more of an understanding now how tech works. But yeah, we had really zero idea about what it takes to build an app. So one of the first things that we did was to call a very good friend of ours, Pete Cassidy, who had started and had his very own successful tech company. And
that's an origin story too, how we met them. Oh, my God.
We actually met him and his beautiful wife in a bottle shop in Buenos Aires 10 years ago, way before kids and way before Eggy.
But another interview.
So we basically just put the call out to Pete and said, we've got this idea for an app. What do you reckon?
It come from, we were using, like everyone, Nicole, we were using all these different products, but they just weren't solving the problem. And
what is this, Eggy? What is this about?
About being better with all of life's information, all of the stuff that just gets thrown at you every day. So there's a term called life admin, which is, it's like the office work of life that you don't get paid to do, but you have to do it. So it's storing all of your documents. It's putting your doctor's appointments into your calendars. It's having to-do lists. It's all of the stuff in life that you need to be doing. That's what Eggy...
Yeah, which I guess answers your question. We feel that helps you become better at your money, Nicole.
Yeah, so how do you collate all of those different facets of your life into one app?
Yeah. So if you get a bill in your email, you can forward that email with the attachment straight into your Eggy account and it can be in there for you. You can then add some details to it, put your reminders in, the document will be stored, the dates will be in the calendars, so you'll get reminders about, when the bill is due and that kind of thing. We've made it really easy to take photos and scans of things that you have right in front of you. So if you get a kid's birthday party invite, when you pick your child up from daycare, you can just quickly snap a photo of it and get it straight into Eggy and it's there.
Screenshots have been a massive winner for our Eggy community, haven't they?
Yeah.
And we've just made it really easy to bring screenshots into a categorised format into Eggy.
Yeah.
It's a life one-stop shop for anything that's thrown at you where before you may have just put it on the kitchen bench and forgotten about it until your child says, oh, there's a birthday party today, and you've gone, oh, we don't have a present, and you end up buying something on the way there. So I've heard. I would know what that's like. How successful has Eggy been?
If anyone understands the whole tech process, you build like this skeleton, an MVP that goes into market. And that's sort of where you gauge your success, and traction within market. And we raced out to 5,000 registered users really, really quickly, and now we're just about to push to 10,000. So like it's just taken over, especially not only the technology and the app, Nicole, but our Eggy community. We created the Eggy Legends group that has been helping us. We literally built the technology around that community. That for us has just blown us away because we realise we've just tapped into this massive problem.
So are most of your family, your Eggy family, from the Gold Coast?
Yes, they are. We have really made an effort to keep everything local as much as possible. So the core team of Eggy, so apart from Kirk and I, we have developers, we have a designer, we have people helping us with marketing, but most people from the Gold Coast and living on the Gold Coast.
So from the moment you came up with this idea, how long did it take you to get to a point where you could actually survive on it as an income?
We've only just started paying ourselves a wage, to be honest, Nicole. It was pretty much 2 years, and I think that why Eggy has been so successful is that we spent, with Katie's wonderful research skills, the best part of 12 months researched our potential markets, our users and the problem and what they wanted, So
how much did you need at the start?
Well, we've actually got a pretty cool story about that, Nicole. We actually pitched to some VCs in Sydney, and they actually knocked us back because we're on the Gold Coast. And we're like, no, we can do this. Tech's remote. Come on. It's 2020. Come on. We actually raised our first round of $250,000 around the campfire. So that was, it's to answer your question, tech is very expensive. I think it's probably cost us around at least $250,000 to $300,000 just to get the MVP in market.
And you didn't have that capital, so you had to actively spruik it to people who had the money. Did you have those networks prior, or was it really cold calling, essentially?
It started basically with family and friends in our own network. And again, it was just talking to people about this problem that we were trying to solve. And, kudos to them, because back then we didn't have a product in market. We were, selling the idea and the dream of what we were trying to do. But, they had enough faith in us that we would get the job done, and they've invested funds. And we also did a crowdsourced funding campaign in 2020 as well, and that brought a lot more investors in. And again, it's just people just get what we're trying to do, and they just they want to be a part of it.
There you go. Cracking the startup market. Kirk Reynoldson and Kate Morgan from the Gold Coast.